it'll look quite different. It'll be an acceleration of some of the trends that we've seen. You've just touched upon there about HSBC's board talking about further restructuring. And there's a really interesting contrast here between the US banks on the one hand and the European and the UK banks on the other. Profitability is tough for everybody this year, but there still is a sense that there's more strategic, more restructuring, more work to be done for the UK and European banks. The US banks seem to be in a better place right now.
I also wanted to ask you about your outlook for the GCC banks, and this is something that I know you also follow very closely. Reports suggesting that profitability and asset quality will deteriorate further. Already, we know it's taken a hit, but likely to deteriorate further, particularly for those banks in the Gulf that are exposed to crippled sectors like energy, for example, or aviation. What's your outlook for some of the GCC banks, and is this a cause for concern?
Sure. Yeah, as you said, many of the key sectors here are under pressure, be it trade, commodities, tourism, travel. So NPLs will be rising significantly this year in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia, just like we're going to see NPLs rise significantly in Europe, in Asia. This is going to be a trend across the world. But some of the most exposed sectors, such as commodities, travel, tourism, obviously the Gulf is overweight. The one advantage the Gulf banks and GCC banks have going into this crisis is their pre-provision profitability, their profit buffer is substantial. And this is the challenge the European banks have vis-a-vis the Gulf banks or the Asian American banks. The pre-provision profitability of the European banks is relatively small, and that causes a problem when you go into a downturn. In the GCC, so the national champions, the sort of sovereign-backed banks here in the UAE or in Saudi, they have some very healthy pre-provision profitability buffers.